Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Real Cringe Show, which is what I'm calling this whenever we talk about The Shrink Next Door on Apple TV, which is what we're talking about today. Cory and Nick here with you. Nick, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Yeah, I'm doing well today. How about you?
You're very well lit.
I am. Yeah, it's some new lighting going on over here.
Yeah,
Thanks to
man.
some Cyber Monday, Black Friday deals. So,
As if you weren't the better looking one of us already, you had to go ahead and get some better lighting to go
and
along.
my skin just look terrible. So,
You're the Dr. Ike to my Marty. I'm the disillusioned, depressed, lonely fuck, and you're the one that's going to manipulate me into buying a second house in the Hamptons. Anyways, so
yeah.
there are going to be spoilers for episode 5 of The Shrink Next Door in this video. Please go ahead, like this one, subscribe if you haven't already, help us get to our goal of 1,000. This episode was entitled The Family Tree, which we'll get into in a few moments.
Yeah.
In this episode, we get a time jump into the 1990s. Ike's dad dies. Ike gives a tearjerker of a eulogy for him, but then talks shit about him later on in the episode.
He
The
does.
Hamptons house basically becomes Ike's house. There are even photos of his family and his friends hanging in the hallway. And then Marty essentially gets duped into buying the property next door and cutting down a tree that has a whole lot of sentimental value to him and his family.
Yep.
Nick, it's getting worse and worse, buddy. I don't know if you're feeling the same way I am, but goddamn.
Yeah, it is definitely the cringe next door. The cringe before Christmas. No longer the Grinch. It's the cringe.
The cringe.
I felt so bad for Marty the entire episode. You know what's happening. You see it happening, and obviously I was hoping he wouldn't go through with chopping down the tree, but and it's at night, and you just hear that thump, thump, thump. I'm like, man, I for a second I thought that was going to be the moment where he kind of started to realize. I mean, obviously we know in the future that he obviously goes full sway and loses everything. But I thought that might be a moment where he doesn't fall prey to Ike's manipulation. I think I put somewhere in my notes here that he says he finally has a problem with it, right? But then Ike, being the person that he is and just being such a damn good and son of a bitch manipulator, he turns it right back on Marty.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Marty, can't you see what's actually happening? It's
yeah. The way that I've thought about this in my head, and the way they're doing this is it's like a tag team pro wrestling match where the bad guys are just like dogging on the one good guy.
Yeah.
And all you want to see is him to tag his partner in so that his partner can clean house and everybody goes crazy and it's this great moment. But every time it gets close to happening, the bad guy like grabs his leg and like pulls him away from his partner. Right? That's what this show's doing. All you want is for Marty to just like wake up, man. Like tell Ike off, tell him to go fuck himself, go away, get out of his life forever because he's ruining everything. And just when you think it's going to happen, he goes and cuts the tree down. And it's just like the saddest, most pathetic thing. Like there's one shot in this episode where Ike and Bonnie are making out outside the pool and Marty is
in the pink blow up.
In it's like a flamingo or something.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like pathetically hanging over it.
Has such a frown on
looking
his face.
up at them. And it's just like, this poor son of a bitch, man. I feel so bad for him.
And it's also strange how he also used the what do they call it? The share house, the frat boys or whatever, the Wall Street guys next door. He wants to kind of compete with them. They go shopping, they come back, they buy a bunch of stuff. That's when the part you're referring to, they buy like a little boom box and but then another part later on in the episode, he's in the pool with him having a beer.
Yep.
And he's like trying to convince Marty to come in, and Marty actually says no. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and he goes back to his house. Uh, and I was actually glad he didn't do that because
Yeah.
he stood up for himself. There's some integrity that Marty has, and he called his guy, right? He called his realtor, which is a long family friend,
Yep.
and he's like, "Do not buy the house.
Hmm.
Repeat, do not buy the house. It's got problems. The septic tank hadn't been replaced
Yeah.
in
It's a bad buy
years."
and a bad spend, and it's going to turn into a money pit for
Yep.
Marty, essentially, which
Yep.
is what his realtor tells him. And, usually when you call somebody that's an expert in their field for advice, you listen to them. Instead, the vines are so twisted, as the title cards show us already,
Yeah.
that Dr. Ike just has him eating out of the palm of his hand and basically gets him
Yep.
to do anything he wants. They even just like say, life in New York, we don't want that anymore. We're just going to stay here at the house and write a book.
God,
Like, what on earth, man?
it was so dumb, but I'm like, it's also this sort of ingenious thing that I came up with, and to the point where he's playing little putt putt, and Marty's the one that's typing.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
like, so not only did you convince Marty to stay here, use the house, send your wife and kids, newborn kids. Oh, well, I guess they're this is a couple years past, right? But
Yeah, they're
so
probably like 6 or 7, I guess, at this
yeah,
point.
but kids, you for what 3 weeks maybe, send them back home, and then you have Marty, who's is like the nicest guy in the world, and you're making him type it all up,
Hmm.
and then when he gets a phone call from Bruce back at AFC, which we can talk about that in a second. It was just I actually no, blow it off, like, no, come on, we were in such a rhythm, got to get back in the groove. And again, just like the control and the grasp on Marty is
Hmm.
just so tight
Yep.
that he can't even see his way out of the forest at this point.
Hmm.
He's too lost.
Yeah, he's got him wrapped in a bubble, which is like typical tormentor slash abuser 101 type tactics, where it's
Yep.
you've got your mark, you need to isolate them to the point where you're all they've got, right? Like we're talking about the early 90s where
Yep.
having a cell phone was a luxury, right? So you've
Yeah.
got landlines for phone calls. It's very easy to just get away from all that. And the reason that Marty usually goes to the Hamptons is to get away from the busy life of New York City. And Dr. Ike sees that as a perfect opportunity to just continue twisting him and molding him to all of his desires. That shot at the end when Marty's cutting down the tree and Ike is watching, and it's just like the villain in the window with the creepy smile, man.
Yeah,
It
man,
tells you everything you need to know about this show. So
that smile, that smirk that he does, I'm just like, you
it's just
son of
like,
a bitch.
I've got him.
Yeah, God,
That's all it
yeah.
is.
He's
So
like, he goes, good, my plan is working, and uh, it, another thing that really bothered me, again, it's just another cringe moment. Again, writing wise, it was great, but story wise, in actuality, it was terrible.
yeah.
Where Ike keeps basically telling Marty, you know, um, forget the past, right? In his own house.
Mhm.
Forget your mother and father. Meanwhile, his father just recently passed away. And he's like,
Yep.
I've already moved on. Well, you haven't quite, Dr. Ike. And usually there's this sort of saying with people who are psychiatrists often need
Mhm.
to take some sort of therapy as well.
Yep.
And we can clearly see it because of that 1 year later gap, right?
Mhm.
And we see Ike's mother, and we learn a little bit more about Ike,
Mhm.
and we
We
see
sure
that
do.
how fucked up he really is.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't something that would be abnormal for someone, because it's like, you know, I feel like anyone would sort of feel that way.
Sure. Everybody's
Because
got family problems, right? Like
right,
that's
yeah,
part of it.
and again, because of what happened with she says, your father couldn't love another son after losing Baruch.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and she's like, this, I forgot what she says exactly, but I was like, don't you understand? And
Yeah.
he's like, no, I can never understand. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, a father would love all of his children,
Not
a
in this
good,
case, though.
yeah,
She's
I
basically
know.
saying no matter how great you are,
Yeah.
you still suck in your father's eyes, and he can never love you the way that he loved this other kid.
Yep.
Which that's a gut punch that, like, that alone requires therapy.
Exactly.
But
And it's like, and you wonder why he's kind of fucked up in the way he does things.
and Marty even tries to talk to him in this
Yeah,
episode.
he
And
does
Ike's
several
like, no, I'm
times.
going to take a page of your playbook. I'm fine. Which, like, he's not fine. Because anytime any human being or character in a television show or movie says, I'm fine, they're not fine.
No.
Never, ever, ever. It's like code almost to say, I need help, which is crazy.
Yeah. And it's soon after that, I think Marty says he owns both properties. And then he's like, I'll call someone to take down the fence. And I was like, no, we're doing it now. And goes over and just starts like kicking it, and clearly like a rage. And part of me was like, I hope you get hurt. I hope like your leg
falls on you.
Yeah, it kind of did, but he escaped and like kind of just walked it off all oddly, right?
Yeah.
But part of me was like, I hope his foot goes through the fence and like it cuts the shit out of him, or like he breaks his his ankle or something like that. Just the unfortunate thing about that even would be that oh my god, we're gonna go to the hospital. Marty just spends more money on Ike, because Ike gets injured, but
which doesn't seem to be a problem at this point in the show, because now they've been friends for close to 10 years, and he's just been ringing Marty for all he's got. But I love that scene with the fence, because this is like, on one side of the fence you got the roller coaster where Marty is climbing up to the point where soon he's gonna disagree.
Yep.
And at the same time, you get that scene at the end where Ike is now on his roller coaster, and you're starting to see the breaks in his armor.
Yep.
Eventually, those two are going to run into each other.
Yeah.
And when they do, it's going to be so much worse, I think, than everything else that's come before it. And I, for one, I can't wait to see it, as awful as it's going to be.
Yeah, the head-on collision is going to be...
It's coming.
Super cringe and awesome at the same time.
Except for the fact that this actually happened in real life, which is fucking mortifying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's awful. The fact that like you think about after the end of the episode, and you're like, oh shit, this is based on real life events.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, again, even looking on to the next episode, because seeing where we're at now and through 5 episodes, we have 8 total in the season. So there's 3 episodes left.
3 left.
I have the
But do you have it?
Synopsis pulled up for episode 6, entitled "The Party."
Oh no.
Dr. Ike and Marty throw a series of extravagant parties at the Hamptons house, mostly at Marty's expense. And it, like, you see Bonnie, in a nice outfit. The kids are in bathing suits. You got what looks like Ike in just some sort of fancy, almost looks like he's going to like a safari. I don't know. It looks like some weird bougie sort of outfit with this like really nice hat on. And I will say this one thing about Bonnie really quick, because she even says that she doesn't want to take advantage of Marty.
Mm-hmm.
But ironically, that's what Ike wants to do and is in the process of doing. And he keeps even trying to say things to Bonnie to like sort of manipulate her as well, but she doesn't necessarily fall for it.
She doesn't fall for any of it, which is why he does it even more to Marty, because
he can't do it to his wife.
He wants to manipulate her so badly, but she sees right through it, and he's like, okay, fine, I'm just going to divert my attention over to this poor schmuck that has no emotional core and just deceive him at every available opportunity. So the whole extravagant party thing that you mentioned in that preview synopsis it's really important, because you go back to that scene at the pool with the bros and the beers and everything.
Yep.
Marty is the introvert who doesn't want to go to the party, maybe gets dragged there, sits in the corner, doesn't have a good time, wants to leave early. Basically me throughout all of high school and college. And now he's going to be hosting all of these get-togethers at his own property on his own dime.
Yeah. It feels bad, tough, man. Yeah, it looks like the fence has been taken down. It's a giant yard.
I believe it. It's going to be extravagant.
I feel like this episode, I'm going to be like this the entire time. Like, Like,
You're
just
watching it like
oh,
through
Marty.
your
Yeah, I'm like,
fingers.
Marty. I feel so bad for
Yeah.
you, man. Like,
Blow
your
up
whole
on him
life is,
already. Just
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
All
Just
right.
end it.
Out of 10, what are you giving this one?
Uh, I, at least an 8.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
they've all been at least
They've
an 8,
all
I
been
think.
so good. Yeah, like
Yeah.
this season is just going to be great overall, and I think towards the end of the last few episodes, it's probably going to ramp up higher. So
I hope so.
I'm gonna save one of those higher ratings for the last 3 episodes. But it's such a great show. I mean, again, seeing these actors, no Catherine Hahn in a while. I'm wondering when
Yeah,
we'll see her again.
I'm ready for some more of her character. I really like
Yeah,
her in this show.
yeah, she's great in the
She's
show.
fantastic.
But again, the acting from all three people, especially from Paul and Will, it's just there's like no comedic relief here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's like darkly funny, but it's not
yeah,
like laugh out loud slapstick humor. But
not like we're used to from these
right.
guys.
But it's a great vehicle
Yep.
for two guys who are clearly great actors to show a side of themselves that they don't
Yeah.
usually get asked to do, and we're having a really fun time covering it. So,
Yes, we are.
so that's going to wrap it up for this one,
Mm.
folks. If you are watching this show and you are dealing with all the anxiety the same way we are, please leave us a comment below. Let us know what you
Yeah.
think. We'll make sure to answer every single one that comes through. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are working towards 1,000 subscribers. We do need your help to get there. Plenty of stuff on the channel this week.
Yes.
We got this video. We're going to be talking about episode 4 of Wheel of Time, episode 3 of Hawkeye. We're going to have finally, we've been saying this for weeks, we're recording the review for The Harder They Fall on Netflix as soon as we're done recording this one. So that's going to go up at some point too. Nick is talking about Dexter. Shane and I talked about Time couple days ago at this point. I had an Uncut Gems 4K review over the weekend. So please check out all of those videos and stay tuned for more. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Cheers.